Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabados of Delmar, and together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechvalley.com. Who do we have with us today, Mark?
Well, thanks, Rabbi. I'm glad that we could put the show together because we have a very special guest with us today. We have Rodney Wiltshire, who's the president of the Troy City Council. And I'm just so impressed that at age 40, that before you were 40, you were president of the Troy City Council. I mean, politics must be in your blood.
No, I wouldn't say politics are my blood, but I am a person who cares deeply about my community and cares deeply about the city that I live in. And I saw a problem, I saw issues, and I said I can sit here and complain, or I can be part of the solution. And as an engineer, I'm good at finding solutions. So,
but you were also head of the Young Democrats.
Yeah.
That's all politics more than
Sure.
government did that,
Yeah.
But I think that but it's admirable that, more people should be involved. And you were, as head of the Young Democrats, you were getting people involved in Rensselaer County. So,
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Rabbi, did you have something?
Yeah, just, you're an engineer and just wanted to figure out what you're doing in the regular life over here in your normal life, we can say, without the politics.
Yeah, in my regular life, I'm focused on saving the planet, one solar panel at a time. So I'm very much into renewable energy and solar power.
It's the Jewish view, so I always like putting a Jewish angle on it. And you'd say, well, what's Jewish about the sun? But the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who's the head rabbi in New York, he passed away 20 years ago, he also was an engineer. He was a rabbi, but he was an engineer. And you're talking 30, well, he passed away 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. He said people should look, this was the oil crisis with, even still today, there's all the problems with the oil, and we'll get to that also, just even coming to the Albany area, shipping it in. And the Rebbe was very on the forefront of saying that solar energy was the way to go, and people didn't understand, because even now, that's why I also want a second idea, that you see the commercials, and I'm a rabbi and you're the engineer, that solar is getting into its own really now. Now it's getting more economical, and before it was just like people weren't doing it. It's catching on.
It is, yeah. People, they didn't trust it. They didn't really understand how it works. They didn't really know if it worked. And I think the more that people have started to adopt solar and put it into their homes and businesses, the more people are saying, I want that too. And it drives the price down. It's just a snowball that's really working to accelerate that rabbi's vision. So, yeah.
Your name of your company is Empire Solar Store?
Correct.
Yep. Okay, but then I wanted to ask you about the Wiltshire Renewable Energy Systems.
So, Wiltshire Renewable Energy Systems is our legal corporate name, and Empire Solar is the assumed name, doing business as, because that's Wiltshire Renewable Energy Systems is kind of a mouthful. Empire Solar is a little more direct and to the point.
Okay, so what's New York State NYSBE? What is that? Because you get about $25,000 a year from.
Oh, NYSERDA, you mean?
Is that NYSERDA,
Yeah.
NYSBE? Because I went online and I saw that there was, I know NYSERDA, but it was, you get these PV incentive programs?
Yeah, that's from NYSERDA.
That's from NYSERDA? Yeah. Okay. And what is that used for? What do you?
Basically, it's like a gift certificate. So, there's a.
Where can I get one?
Anybody can get them.
Buy some sunlight with it over here.
If you're a ratepayer in New York City, or in New York, you have the eligibility to get those incentives. And basically, NYSERDA is just the administrator of it. But if the retail price of a solar system is, let's say, $30,000. You might get $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 off of that cost right up front, and that just makes it more
for
affordable.
The solar panel.
Yeah.
How many years would it be economically to pay it off? Come out even.
Depending on where you live, but in the Capital District, the rates of electricity, National Grid customers have jumped so high that it's taking about 3.5 years. No, it's not at all.
So is your business soaring?
This is our best year. Yeah, this is our best year yet.
Really?
And
how many years have you been in business?
This will be our 6th year.
Sixth year.
Yep.
It says, 2010. It says.
No, 2008 we opened up in Troy.
Okay.
Yep.
Does it make a difference when, I thought you were going to say depends where you are, and then you went into electrical, but does it make a difference in sun? I mean, if we'd be in Arizona, it would be different than
Yeah.
Capital District?
Yeah, there's a difference there. The biggest issue is the shade, and if you have a tree that cuts out the sun, then that basically it's like turning off the light switch. But our latitude is higher up on the Earth, so the closer you are to the equator, the better sun that you have, the more hours of sun throughout the day. But really, the biggest obstacle is trees. If you have a house that's covered with trees, then your solar system's just not going to produce as much, regardless whether you live in Arizona or New York.
Right, but you can position the solar panels
To one
to
side of
get-
the house?
Yeah.
one side of the house to
Yep.
get the most amount. So even if you have
Correct.
trees in the front, you can still put the panels in the back
Yes.
if
and-
the sun
Yes.
comes there.
Right.
And that's more
What if
open.
you have cloudy days for 5 days?
Then you have cloudy days for
That's
5
right.
days. There's
Well,
really
then-
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but the electricity will go down.
No,
I mean,
the
just-
national grid kicks in.
Yeah, you're tied to the grid, and basically the grid acts as a battery. So everything that you normally do now would still happen. It's just when it's really sunny out and during the day and you don't have usage, like if you're out of your house during the day and you don't have any lights on, maybe just the refrigerator's on or something like that, all that sunlight is being pushed back into the grid and you're getting credited for it. So on
Oh.
cloudy days and at nighttime, then you
So
fully.
it's
So
Right.
it's not like the energy, solar energy is being stored when
Right.
you're not home.
Right.
It's being sent to the grid and you're
Right.
getting credit and then you're using it. The credit you're getting is the same as the same amount
Yes,
that you would use?
up to your usage. Once you go past your usage, then you get like the wholesale rate. But yeah, if you don't have batteries, if you had batteries in your house, then you could actually store your energy and use it at night. But essentially your neighbors are using the electricity. So it goes out to the grid and then, telephone poles, your next door neighbor, the business down the street, that uses the electrons.
Now, do you find, like, I know there was a company, Castleman Electric, and all of a sudden I see Castleman Solar,
Yeah.
and I see some of his lawn signs around.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, are there more solar companies now?
Absolutely. This is
So-
a hot market. It's not the biggest market in the state or in the world, or in the country, but this is a very hot market, and you see a lot of companies that are coming in, a lot of national companies that are not from the Capital District, and they're starting to put roots
you-
down here.
So you really have to promote yourself. You have
Yeah.
competition. You really got to get it. Are most of your companies in Rensselaer County, or?
No, I would say I think there are 3 of us in Rensselaer County that I can think of, but.
Well, I mean, how many, your customers?
No,
people
my-
you install the solar panels for?
They're all over. We've got customers in Rhinebeck, Catskill, Ticonderoga, Fort Plain. We actually have a customer in Ithaca, which is, I think, 260 miles away.
What about in Albany County? You have
Yeah.
some? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Because I don't see your, you know all about lawn signs when you
Yeah.
campaign, but I don't see your.
The funny thing is, they're out there. You just
Okay.
it's still such an infantile industry. Solar represents about 0.1% of the energy production. So I mean, wind is
So you're
about
s-
1%.
So you're saying that the average bill, for installation of the panels and to purchase the panels is, let's say, is 20,000, you're saying, on average?
For the average New York house, I would say the sticker price is around $24,000.
Okay.
And then after your incentives
Comes down to
coming out 15, 16.
15,000.
Yeah, and then you get tax credits, so when everything is said and done,
Do you
pay-
set up a credit plan where people could pay this out, or they got to
No,
give
we
you a
don't
check
do-
for 15,000?
No, yes, you have to get your own financing for that. I mean, we work with the banks, and there are, ways that you can either finance it or lease it, but, we don't provide that credit in-house.
How many employees do you have?
We've got 12 employees.
Excellent,
Yeah.
beautiful. Are
Yeah.
they all engineers?
No, got 2 that are engineers. The rest are, from varied disciplines. I've got a guy who's got a bachelor's in government administration.
And is he putting the panels?
Yeah, and he's
up on
working.
the roof
yeah,
and all
he's
that?
couldn't find any jobs doing that.
When there's electricity, for example, so most people, I don't know most, I shouldn't say that, natural gas. So they'll say, well, I'm getting free electricity. why do I need this natural gas? Maybe I
Yeah.
should go to electrical heating. Is
Yes.
that what happens?
We actually have a customer right now, they have a very low bill, and they're retired, they don't have any kids there, they just kind of, don't really use a lot of electricity, but they've got a great roof, and they do have the means to afford it. And they're like, fit as many solar panels as you can on here, tell me what that's going to produce, and I'm going to start buying an electric water heater, electric heating, because I want to supply my own power.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about your other interests. I mean, obviously, alternative energy is huge for you, but there's other types of, there's wind, there's geothermal, there's other types. Why did you settle on solar?
Solar is something that everyone can utilize. There are.
Well, they can relate to.
Well, I suppose they can relate to.
Because geothermal is going underground,
Right.
and maybe people say, well, here I am getting the heat from
Yeah.
the core of the earth.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a little too fancy for people.
That's not
And
exactly.
wind, you have a big windmill, and
Right.
well, that's going to
Windmills
upset the
produce
neighbors.
a lot of, or have a lot of conditions in order for them to work appropriately. You need basically good open space. With wind, you got to go big or go home. You can't have a short wind turbine. You got to have a really tall tower in order to make it work very, cost effectively. Plus, there's maintenance involved in turbines and geothermal. And essentially, solar is scalable. So no one really ever gets one single solar panel. That's kind of silly, but you could. You could get one solar panel and it could do something
Try it
for
out.
you. Yeah. And then, at the same point, if you wanted to add on 10, 20, you can kind of grow your system. With a wind turbine or a geothermal, it's kind of like it's all in. You got to do it from the design. You don't just go add another blade to the wind turbine and it produces more power. You have to do it right from the beginning, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or you scrap it and you do it again.
What about how are you priced competitively? How do you know what the other companies are charging?
We keep our margins pretty tight. We have low overhead. I don't have shareholders that I have to report to or anything. It's a family-owned business. My wife and I own it. So
and the
I
store
know.
is right down the block from where you live.
Yeah, exactly. So I
read that somewhere.
Yeah, it is. You can see my house from my parking lot.
Okay, no excuse for not showing up.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have big fancy trucks. We just don't have a lot of overhead. We kind of get the job done. So I know our prices are great. They're able to sustain the business, but also.
Well, I know that they're great, but but where's the empirical evidence?
I think we get feedback from customers. Every time we have a new customer that comes to us and let's say they've shopped, they've had a couple different proposals. Sometimes they share the proposals, so I literally can look at them and compare apples to apples. Other times they will just let us know that, your price was this, or your service was that, or your value was that. So we know that we are, unless someone's giving a system away, a competitor is saying we just want to give it to you for free, we usually have the best price.
Let me just segue me, because of course we say you're the Troy Common Council president. What about government? I mean, they always say they're trying to save money.
Yeah.
I hope they are over here, but they're always in debt. But maybe there would be government. There's police stations, there's fire stations. I mean, even the government offices.
Would it be a conflict of interest if you were to help, if they were to put an RFP, request for proposal out?
In the city of Troy?
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be a conflict of interest, but it would be something I would have to be 100% open and transparent about. Everything's laid out on the line.
The perception might be the
Well, I
reality,
probably, if there was something that would require me to vote on it, I would recuse myself from that vote. But,
Is the government looking into it? I mean, from your government, whether it's your, offer or not, but I'm just thinking, try to save, I'm thinking of government with you, and, it's a way to save money.
When I first got elected to the city council, we have a few brownfields in the city of Troy, and I identified them as being prime opportunities for a solar farm, essentially. And
What are brownfields? Just nothing's there? I've never heard the term.
Contaminated.
It's contaminated. It's a piece of land that is so contaminated that you cannot build on it.
How did it get contaminated in the middle of Troy?
Because of chemicals. No, there were chemicals that were dumped there, and then you can't.
From a factory, you mean?
From a factory or from a business that
Right.
that at the time
Gas
it might have been like General Electric dumped PCBs in the Hudson River
Right.
in the 1940s and 50s. But they were told that they could by the state.
Right.
Now they say, oh no, we were wrong, but you got to pay to clean it up.
Yeah.
And GE's got to put in multi-millions and billions of dollars in order to clean up what the state said was okay for them to dump.
So people always did this.
So
these are
who-
polluted
you know,
lands.
Yeah.
So this is
One-
so they abandon these lands and these
Right.
contaminated lands, and they.
So you want to use them in a positive way?
Yeah, one of our brownfields is a former landfill. So you can imagine that's, contaminated with whatever, has been dumped in the landfill. And we have, it's essentially a 90-acre landfill. About 45 acres of it are good prime spots for solar. And so that is a potential spot that we could use to install a solar system that the city of Troy could reap the electrical benefits from. And
So,
Excellent, yeah.
where's
so
the,
we passed a resolution 2 years ago to proceed with that. And we have worked on an RFP to send out to potential bidders. We had some interest this year in a company that wanted to apply for a CFA. In order to do that,
CFA is?
the combined,
Okay, never mind.
the funding application.
Okay.
And
And
they,
this electricity could be, I mean, how far is it away? A few miles?
oh, this is right in the city of Troy, yeah. I mean, it's on the outskirts, but it's right,
And
within
there's
the
no
city
problem with transferring electricity?
No.
No,
I mean, I would think at home goes right in,
yeah.
but I mean, here.
No, it
even-
goes to the grid and it goes,
Yeah.
they have it.
It's,
worked.
it goes through a
I'm sure
transformer.
they have it, I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah.
how it works. That's all.
If you push electricity over wires for any distance, you want to up the voltage so the current stays low, the ampacity of the wire doesn't get overloaded. And essentially that's, those wires that are very high up on the telephone poles, those are multi-thousand volt wires that are pushing electricity, very low current, but high voltage. Then the transformers step it down to the voltage that we can use inside our houses. So essentially the same thing happens in reverse. We start out with a system, 600 volts or so, push it into the transformer, that knocks it up to its transmission voltage, and it goes where it does, and then it brings it back down. It's all
Okay,
very automatic.
So you have the CFA, you have a company that applied.
They looked at it, they
Yeah.
didn't apply for it, but
Okay,
it's
but
still.
why not you? Why didn't your company apply?
Well, that's not for conflict of interest or anything, but that's something I want to see happen within the city, and I want to help guide that to happen. I'm not looking to do that per se myself.
Okay.
Other communities, sure, open game. If Albany wants to do something or Bethlehem wants to do something, I'd certainly be
Is it
looking over
because
there.
people aren't interested because it's so new? That's,
It's not new, it's been
well, I
around
know
40
it's-
years.
I know
As
it's
old as
been-
he is, it's been
No, I
around.
know it's around, but like I say now, maybe I'm wrong also, but I just see now it's like picking up.
Mhm.
People, there's ads and there's, I mean,
Right.
again, your company's not that old either, but I'm just saying it's more economical. Am I
Yeah.
wrong? Or
No,
I mean,
you're
it's just-
absolutely right. And you asked a question earlier about the governments and what they're doing and what they're not doing. The state, NYSERDA, when I first started in solar, their incentive program was a lot higher, but it also had different categories for incentives. And nonprofits or municipalities, the churches, the fire departments, the police stations, any nonprofit actually received an incentive at a greater rate, which meant that, because there's tax credits on the back end, but if you're a non-tax paying entity, you
Right.
can't
You're
take
gonna get
advantage of them. So a system costs what a system costs. I don't care if I put it on your house or on your business, that's what it costs. And NYSERDA used to incentivize at a higher rate those nonprofits so that they could still take advantage of it. They eliminated that. And what that did is it created a void, and that void was filled by companies that do power purchase agreements now. And essentially what a power purchase agreement does, which is not what we do, is they will install solar for no upfront cost or for limited upfront cost, but they use your infrastructure for that. And then you pay a slightly reduced rate for electricity for the duration of your term. And what that does is it takes the ownership away from the municipality or the church or the nonprofit organization. And when they take that ownership away, you also lose some of the benefits on the back end. See, and the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative states, the RGGI states, there's 10 of us here in the Northeast, we participate in SREC trades. And we don't have the SRECs here in New York yet, but if and when the SRECs in New York come, all of those attributes, which are financial benefits, would not come to the municipality. So unfortunately,
Who's
that's
gonna bring it? I mean, the government agency or?
yeah, yes, New York, hopefully Governor Cuomo would do that.
I have to ask you, we got to change topics for a minute.
Sure.
In Albany County, there's this problem with oil tankers coming through the city of Albany and through the county, many municipalities
Right.
in Albany County. What's going on in Troy? Do you have any problem with oil tankers? There was a derailment in Schaghticoke, but nothing,
Yeah.
it wasn't a big deal, but what's your position on oil tankers? And
Well, my position is a couple of things. Number one, I think we shouldn't be using fossil fuels. There's enough abundant energy from the sun and even the wind, if you want to kick that in, which is of course a derivative of the sun, to power everything that we need. So
okay. But
transporting,
given that we are using
Yeah.
these oil tankers that are originating in North Dakota,
Yep.
and they're coming through our municipalities here, are they safe tankers? If they derailed, are we going to have another incident that happened in Quebec where it decimated a town?
I mean, it absolutely could. We discussed this with our former police commissioner last year, and when that happened, we said, what's our plan? What are we going to do? And we don't have one in Troy. Now, thankfully, we don't have that kind of tank traffic coming through the city. Troy, 100 years ago had that, but right now, it's very limited rail that's coming through and it's just more or less heavy cargo, but no, tremendously volatile chemicals.
So the train that derailed in Schaghticoke, where was that coming from? Like
I
that
don't
didn't
know
come
the
through
route.
Troy?
I don't know the route
All
that traveled. It probably went up and over and came back in.
But Troy is safe?
Troy is safe per se, yes.
Okay, so let me ask you about the heroin epidemic everyone's talking about. Is Troy impacted by the heroin
Yes.
epidemic?
Yeah.
Tell me about it, talk about it.
Well, luckily to our just good fortune, we haven't had any high-profile fatalities due to it, but the heroin epidemic is certainly happening, and our police we've got more undercover drug units that are actually trying to stem the influx of it, and they're looking to get the dealers, but there's a huge problem because it's so cheap and it's economic. So I believe what one of the narcotics officers told me is that a regular hit of heroin is cheaper than a pack of cigarettes now. So, and they're selling it everywhere. They're selling it out of the little bodegas, they're selling it out of the corner stores. It's a very readily available
Where are they making
product.
it? I mean, you say marijuana is from a plant. Do you know, I mean, do they say
What
where?
are you looking at me for?
You're the news reporter. I'm the rabbi. I see the end results. When people complain to me,
Yeah.
their kids are on the
But-
narcotics. I hate the
but-
narcotics.
But heroin
I hate it all.
is made in a factory, right? It's made
I'm not an expert.
You don't know
on-
either.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
I'll
really
tell you
not.
what, we'll come back to this.
All right.
We'll have a whole show,
Yeah.
we'll have law
Hear
enforcement
about it.
officials, and we'll have a whole show on it.
I mean, as a city, we have more population, so we have significant drug activity within the city just in general. But it seems like most of the problems have happened in the suburban sections surrounding.
So what's your biggest crime problem in Troy? Well, don't tell me there's no crime.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, I guess I would.
You gotta get the police chief
Well, you
out
had-
of here.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting there.
I'd
But-
probably say violence.
But you had the problem with Cocopelli's,
Yeah.
which is a Jewish-owned bar. I got to tell you, Barry Glick.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me, what happened? When, it was past January. There was some problems with the police coming in, and the patrons there were acting out against the police, and I
Well-
want to be kind about this.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there seems
where's
to
the
be.
up? And now 8 months later, where are we with Cocopelli's? Is it quiet now? Is it going smoothly, or what?
Yeah, I mean, Cocopelli's is quiet. There hasn't been any more activity.
Negative.
Negative activity surrounding Cocopelli's. I've spoke to the owners of Cocopelli's quite a bit, and their business has been negatively affected by just the stigma and the activity that has come down there. It's another business across the street that also, was also impacted negatively. So that whole area has suffered just from, the kind of things that have happened down there. And that's not, a that's not something that I think is due and attributable to Cocapelli's or that restaurant or that bar in particular. I think that is a an isolated incident and a scene that has happened. Every community, every street, every block in Troy has a different vibe and a different flavor, and this one has just the right mix to produce that kind of stuff. I mean, there's late night pizza joints. There are, it's a major
Italy section. You have the art section, the antique section.
Right.
What's your favorite section?
It's funny you ask. My favorite section in Troy, I love not Broadway, State Street. I love State Street. If you go on the river and look east on State Street, it's by far the most beautiful look inside the city, I think. Okay. And as you walk that way, it's great. And there are so many nice, cool restaurants and scenes. There's not Daisy Baker's, but right below Daisy Baker's, Bacchus, when you curve around on 2nd Street, which also has the wine bar.
And the Troy Music Hall.
The Troy Music Hall is right there. Christ Church, St. Paul's is there. All of, there's just so many, wonderful things. Then the approach as you go up to RPI, that's my favorite spot.
All right, tell me about the brew cycle.
The what?
Brew cycle.
Brew cycle.
You don't know about
the brew cycle, the bicycle. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like
with
the cycle of how to make beer. I'm sorry, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, tell me about this.
So, it's a bike that's kind of like a boat. I really can't, it's not a bike, it's a vehicle that's got a bar and a bartender, and people get on it and everybody pedals to move it around the city, and they stop at a bar, you get off and you go do your thing and have some fun, then you get back on and drink some more and pedal around.
Just the last few minutes, though, we've talked a few things negatively about Troy, and the crime. But, I mean, it's been on an upbeat, it seems to me, again, just from, again, I'm a commoner looking at it, but the lakefront is moving up into downtown.
Yeah, Troy's doing great.
I spent some time there at the Beth Tefillah Synagogue. I was the rabbi there for the high holidays for a good few years ago. So, we walked around, so I know a little bit about it.
Well, if you've never been to Beth Tefillah Synagogue, you have a duty as City Council President to pay a visit. This is out of a different era, a different time, and if you want, I'll take you over there and I'll introduce you to the folks there. But, I mean, this is right on Front Street. And
82 River Street.
Yeah, River Street.
I would love to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me just ask you, what's your position on casinos?
I voted yes to, support. We had a resolution in Troy to support the applications from East Greenbush and the city of Rensselaer.
Why do you like casinos?
I mean, to be completely honest, I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy myself at a casino. I don't have any gambling problems or issues like that, but I do think they're valid, fun entertainment. You know what you're getting into. And I think that, part of any economic engine for any major community is entertainment and, travel, and that brings people in, and it's a really, it's a good thing to happen.
Okay. I'm sorry to do this to you, but I had to ask you, and it's really a quick answer.
Sure.
I mean, in the political side, you and the county Democratic chairman, did you patch things up, or?
Oh, no. I mean, right now we're in a primary that we're facing each other on for the Democratic committee seats for the election district 8. So right now we're actually going head to head in a primary election for September 9th.
Committeeman?
For committeemen here.
Okay. So are you on the, you're on the outs with the county chairman?
Yeah, I mean, he has not made it a secret that he's gone out of his way to undermine my candidacy for the council, my position as the council president, and even has, in my opinion, has gone so far as to have personal attacks against me, and it's really unfortunate.
Must feel uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable, and for a while there it was, because people, kind of looked at me like, is there a problem with you? And it's hard to continue to try to sell yourself to everyone about, I'm a good guy, but I think my record, my activities within the city, people have started to appreciate and understand who I am, and they understand who he is.
And you're next in line to be mayor if the mayor has to step down, I believe, or
Well, I mean,
what's the order of succession?
there's no.
Because
Oh, you're
in-
talking about if somebody, if
Yeah.
he resigned?
Or dies or in office or something. I mean,
Well,
like in
there's-
Albany, the common council president is next in line to take over for the mayor. Are you next in
I
line?
don't know, to be completely honest, what
Because
the.
they say this is a stepping stone to being mayor. I've
I
heard.
think it's. I mean,
So
there's
are
a.
you looking for higher office
there-
somewhere?
There's the deputy mayor who he has appointed, who
Right.
I would assume would take
Oh,
over.
Well, you'll look into it.
But
You
yeah, I
might
don't
be
really
next in
know.
line in succession and not know it.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to it. I
Okay.
All
don't
right,
know.
Well,
Mark, I
thank you.
think we're out
Okay.
of time.
Okay.
I want to thank you and wish you the best of luck and blessings. And you're a young person with a lot of energy and a lot of skills, and we only wish you the best with
Thank
all
you.
success with good health.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on, Rodney.
Thank you. My pleasure. I'm glad to be here.